They met on Thursday evening, all four of them, in the apartment for the first time rather than the library. Kitu had suggested it. The library closed at midnight, and Kitu wanted more time than that. By 8 in the evening, the kitchen table was covered with Eboa's notes, printed pages, annotated in 2 colors, organized by site and date. The overhead light was on. Kitala sat with his back to the window. Devonte had come directly from his mother's house, still in his coat when Eboa started talking. The smell of the morning's bisap, reheated, was in the room, not strongly, but present, as the smell of that tea was always present in the apartment by now, worked into the walls and the curtains and the specific air of a place that has been lived in the same way for long enough. Eboa walked them through the South Cameroon cluster first. The 3 sites, the radiocarbon corroboration across each one, the peer-reviewed consensus, not the word probable, but the word demonstrated. Devonte took notes on his phone with the focused efficiency he brought to technical information. Kitala read the printouts.
This is your area.
Yes, that's right.
How close exactly?
Akinadai, 40 kilometers from Mefueta Famba, which is where my mother's family is from.
Devonte typed something. He did not say anything immediately. He showed them the Kwilu-Kasai dates. Eboa had not planned to do this yet, but he put the second page on the table.
For Kwilu-Kasai, this is documented in the literature as a proposed date, corroborated at a lower level than Biwembe Summit. The earliest iron evidence puts occupation of that zone south of the forest at approximately 2nd century BCE. Kitu's region.
Kitala looked at Kitu. 400 years between the South Cameroon cluster and the first evidence of settlement south of the Congo rainforest. Nobody said anything for a moment. The apartment was quiet in the way apartments are quiet at 8 in the evening. Traffic from the street below, the pot cooling on the stove. The particular stillness of people thinking rather than talking.
Is there a connection in the literature between the 2 sites?
There is a hypothesis, not a demonstrated link. The hypothesis is that communities producing iron in South Cameroon moved south over time, carrying the metallurgical knowledge. The hypothesis is documented in the literature. It has not been proven.
Probable, yes.
Probable. The phrase the literature uses is consistent with.
They sat with it. The room held it. The specific silence of 4 people sitting with something that is not yet knowledge and is not nothing. Kitala was still looking at the second page. He had been looking at it for a long time. He turned it over. The back was blank.
My part of the coast is not on here.
No, I haven't gotten to the Longo-Congo zone dates yet. I wanted to be clear on what I had before I added more.
Kitala nodded once. Devonte looked at his notes. He had written the 2 dates: South Cameroon c. 670 BC, Kwilu-Kasai c. 146 BC. Below that, 4 centuries south hypothesis. He thought about the word hypothesis. He thought about the word probable. He had been learning these words differently over 2 months, learning that a probable thing was not nothing, that a hypothesis with evidence was a different kind of claim than a guess. He had a name that was probably not the name, and a probability distribution pointing to a coastline. They had slag heaps from the 6th century BCE and a movement hypothesis. The absence of proof was not the absence of connection. He wrote one more word: assembling. Kitala went to bed early. Kitu stayed up, reading. Eboa sat at the kitchen table after Devonte had gone home. Devonte always left last, which Eboa had noticed across the semester, as if Devonte were reluctant to return to the 12-minute walk and whatever waited on the other side of it, and looked at what he had laid out on the table. He had grown up knowing the name of the village his mother was from, the river, the way the ground looked in dry season, and what it smelled like after rain. He had grown up knowing, in the way you know things before you know them, that where he was from was specific, not Africa in general, not West Africa as a category, but Mefuera Famba, the Sanaga, South Cameroon, the particular ground his grandmother had said carried memory. He had taken this as the kind of thing grandmothers say. He had not taken it as a statement verifiable by radiocarbon dating. He had not known that the ground 40 kilometers from where his grandmother lived had been, in the 6th century BCE, a metallurgical production center of a kind that researchers had spent 40 years trying to fully document. He had not known that the slag heaps accumulating near those ancient furnaces, accumulating as waste, as residue, as the byproduct of work nobody was preserving, would one day be the only surviving testimony to what had been known and made and transmitted in that landscape. That the furnaces would be rebuilt and then eventually not rebuilt. That the knowledge would move south, or was hypothesized to have moved south, along a corridor that ran through 2 of the people in this apartment. That what lasted was what no one had meant to preserve. He was not sure what to do with this. He was not sure it required him to do anything. He was still finding the edges of it, the way you find the edges of something large in the dark, by moving carefully outward, by feeling where the ground changes, by not rushing the moment when the shape becomes clear. He thought about Devonte's word, assembling. He looked at the notes for a while longer. Then he turned off the kitchen light and went to bed.